Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
Good morning.
First and foremost, thank you so much for serving our nation the way that you have. You have sacrificed your life, and you continue to do so by releasing a book such as this in the way of teaching your knowledge. This is so important to me because I'm a third-degree black belt, and it's all about learning. Now teach it.
That's right. So you understand the way to warrior, the martial arts.
Oh, my God. You just spoke my street, dude. You're absolutely right.
Mm-hmm. I founded the Way to Warrior when I was 9 years old, Bushido Code, and it kind of guided me through my whole life. Special operations to modern day ninja, but be able to like implement those skills in real life around the world. The skills of unconventional warfare, martial arts. All those teachings. Be able to really truly live it around the world.
And, I wish that those around us could see what it is that we envision inside our eyesight, because our eyes are always talking to our body. And I can see in this book that you're using every inch of your body as you move through life.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Bruce Lee talked about, don't think, feel. And that's the thing in life is we overthink life. We don't feel. We don't take the time to really process the emotion of the experience. Therefore, we're stuck in our thoughts, our mind,
One of the things that's very interesting about this, and I hope that you're on a speaking tour where you're going to go in and talk with these businesses, because you're taking the lessons that you've learned and the odds on the battlefield, and you're putting it in business as well as putting it into the lives of those that will read that book.
Yes. Mm-hmm. A lot of when I got out, being in the military for 23 years, what do you know about business? But I tell you, I took the strategy of Sun Tzu and the art of five rings and all of my unconventional warfare tactics and I applied it to business. And within a year, we are very successful in business, and we have been growing ever since for 10 years now. So I applied these war principles and foundations and tactics to business, and I have taught business classes on this strategy and course of action and intelligence and how that pertains to you as a businessman.
How many times do you run into people that say, how do you do it, dude? I mean, how do you do everything that you're doing and get it done perfectly? I mean, it's one of those things where people don't understand efficiency.
Well, thank you for thinking I do things perfectly. I try really hard. Sometimes it don't work out the way I do, but I learn from my mistakes. But the thing is this, my day is structured. I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, right? And I write my mind. When I say that is to ground yourself in the morning, it's so important, because if you win that morning, you win that day. If you win that day consistently, you win the game of life. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people, they don't put a lot of emphasis on the mornings or their day. And I do that by my journaling, scheduling my day. I have, a very tight, disciplined schedule every single day. So that's how I do it.
Wow. I'm with you on the journaling, dude. I've been doing that for 30 years. I mean, that writing in the morning is so important. You've got to clean out that closet, as I call it.
Yes, I like that. Mm-hmm.
What do you learn from that writing? Because in reality, dude, we're students, and we're given things through that writing.
Your inner self is always trying to talk to you. We're just, our mind is just so cluttered, right, with thoughts, where we don't even sit to get to know ourselves sometimes. And, when I say, hey, who are you? And you try to tell me who you are, you don't really know who you are unless you really sit down in a quiet place with yourself. Mm-hmm. And to write is writing from your soul, right? Your soul is writing. When I have bad days, I write down the bad days to get rid of those thoughts. If I have, when I meditate, I have a journal next to me to write down those thoughts, right? Because I tell you, some of those thoughts, when I ground myself in meditation and I connect to the source, those are $1 million ideas that comes out, right? And a lot of people don't understand that,
Let me ask you a question about your meditation, because I do Nidra. And one of the things, I mean, it helps you break things down and to learn more about yourself. But since I've got my V8 goggles or my VR goggles, one of the things that I've done is I've tried to go in there and do meditation through that. Do you ever find yourself where it's like, it's not quiet enough? Or do you go into it alone, or do you go into it by watching videos or being with other people?
Meditation was, a daily practice that, man, it took me 9 years to really master. Right. And it's really the unraveling of who you are. When I say that, it's excavating a lot of your thoughts and your traumas from your past. So like meditation, when I sit in meditation, it's really a practice, and it's a daily practice.
Yes.
Right. And you can't just, sit in meditation one day and then a month later try to accomplish that. It's a daily routine, just like physical fitness. If you go to the gym every day, you flex that muscle, you have to flex your brain every single day with meditation. And that's the only way that you can really accomplish it. If you ask me how I started with guided meditation in the beginning. For me, I'm a self-starter, so I don't like going to instructors to teach me anything. I'm a self-starter, like a Green Beret. We dive into the intelligence. So I started researching what it means to meditate. I started practicing. I failed, until I finally got it. So yeah, there's so much information out there if that's something that you want to pursue at a daily practice. But my thing is, it has to be a daily practice.
Yep. As that Green Beret, don't you have to live in the presence of now?
As a Green Beret,
and as a human being too, as a regular person sitting here having this conversation today, a lot of people don't understand what now is. They would rather live in their past.
Oh man, we're stuck in our past, or we're stuck in the future, right? So that's why we live in a state of survival. And when I say that, we tax our nervous system because we're not present. And being in the present moment, there's no past and there's no future. So there's only now, and there's no anxieties and there's no depression, because depression leads from your past, right? And regret is from your past. And then, anxieties come from, what you think is going to happen in an unguaranteed future. Being present is a practice, and we're not present enough because we're always in our head. And, if you don't notice, thoughts are tied to emotions. So that's why everybody's always, their nervous system's always taxed. They're always living anxieties because we're feeling it with thoughts, and unless you know how to get rid of thoughts, which a lot of people don't, unless you practice meditation, you're going to live in that state.
In your book, I find this to be very, very inspiring in the way that you are challenged by what defeats others. I love that, because it's like you see somebody being defeated, and it's like, I want to step in there and not just help them, but to learn from it.
Yes. You're almost encompassing. So we're all, okay, so I'm on my spiritual journey. We're all one, and we should help each other, because when I help, so if you're going through a hard time and I help you, man, you know how fulfilling that is to me. And I also learn from you. And that's we separate ourselves from humanity. We separate ourselves from others by getting on our own head and getting our own space, but we should be helping each other out,
One of the things that's happened in the past 10 to 15 years is it seems like that the American dream right now is to get a YouTube channel and make a bunch of money, or to win the lottery. What is the American dream? Because we need to help educate all generations that it still exists and we can grow together as a team.
I am living the American dream. When I say that, I was a refugee. Yes. I came from absolutely nothing. I slept with the rats when I was 3 years old. Like, I had no country, I had no freedoms, and started over again in a new country, right? That didn't accept us, that spit in our face, that told it we're nothing. And where I'm going with this is, man, your ancestors at some point in your family history had to face the same thing.
Yes.
Where they had to risk their life for the pursuit of freedom or better opportunities. And when they came to America, I'm pretty sure they were not accepted, right? So my story is just that. It's a story of being an American, right? And building resilience in a country, and then end up serving at the highest tier, fighting for our country's safety, right? And then losing my way, and then now, you know, helping building communities across America. That's, to me, that's the American story, right?
It is. Which is every reason, the purpose of why people should buy this book, and not just read it, but to activate it. It needs to come with a yellow highlighter, because you say things in this book that it's like there's a collection of so many different thoughts. It needs to be highlighted. Pick out your favorite stuff.
Yes.
When you were putting it together and then had to take it to the editing process, was that tough? Because not everybody understands the language.
Wow. Yes. I mean, working with a publishing company and working with the editors, there has to be a certain process, certain way. Signing on with HarperCollins, they were able to smooth out that transition for me, because look, I'm gone, and I'm gone a lot. It took me a year literally to write this book with HarperCollins and the ghostwriter and everybody else. So definitely utilizing them and their navigation, it helps streamline the book process.
Yeah. Now, that year that you put into that book, did you cleanse your soul? I mean, were you able to sit down and really release what's inside you tightly?
Man, I tell you, after that year, because you're going into a lot of details, and you're pulling up a lot of trauma and a lot of, you're going back, because I'm trying to put in as much what I can remember in those moments. And I tell you, man, after I wrote the book, it wasn't good. After I wrote the book, I had to heal myself for a little bit, because, you're just unearthing a lot of trauma, and I had a lot through my whole life, So after I wrote the book, it was a healing process, but it was a releasing process as well for me. And after I wrote the book, I had to retreat a little bit to heal from writing that book.
What are you going through now? Because, I mean, with my published books, I have to go through a period where it's like when you relinquish it, it is a moment for the author to, all of a sudden, it doesn't belong to you anymore. It belongs to the rest of the world. What are you mentally going through during this moment of relinquishing?
I have been mentally prepping myself for this for over a year. Yeah. Like when I said that, like meditation, prayer, intent, and my intent is crystal clear to me. My intent is to share my story so others can pull from my lessons and maybe help them improve themselves, right? And that's truly what my story is about. So my intention is nothing but that, to help others. But if you're asking me how I'm meant to prepare for it, I know my intent, and I know it's pure.
Man, you said my favorite word, intention and intent, because people need to understand how important that is when we go for our daily walks, or when we're in these moments of aloneness inside the car. Create some intentions.
Yeah, it's funny you say that with even working out, or even in my car driving to work. I have an intention in the morning. My intention in the morning is to be positive. In the morning, you set up a positive morning, you'll have a positive day. So I listen to podcasts in the morning between two doctors talking about neuroscience. Anything that helps me improve myself as a person happens in the morning. When I'm in the car driving to work, it's not driving to work. It's driving to work with the intention of improving myself, right? So I'm listening, to something that improves me every morning. Or I'm just present. I turn off the radio and be present. Where I'm going with this is, even driving to work, you should have an intention.
Reaching out to people and making sure that you're part of that community. But the thing is that you have to be bumping into the same people that I do, in the way that people go, I don't know, I'm just not in the mood. Oh, I'm not motivated. People need to learn the activation of determination. And you really do jump into that into this book.
Yes. Yeah, a lot of people, they're kind of victims, right? And they take a victim approach to life, as in they're not go-getters, or they were not raised around that environment. Fortunately for me, I was raised around a military environment at a young age. That was hard growing up in that environment, but it gave me the discipline and resilience I need to be who I am today. So when I look at a person that says it's too hard, the thing is this: if it's too hard for you, then it's not that important to you.
See, do you hear the wisdom coming out of you? Have you met up with someone like Thich Nhat Hanh or studied with somebody who has got that worldwide global kind of a vibe about him?
Man, I met some masters in my life. One, when I say it as, I'm a Green Beret, and I have traveled the world. I have lived with indigenous tribes. I have meditated with monks. I have sat with shamans around the world. I've climbed the highest mountains of the Himalayas to Tibet monks. And I have seen these masters. You know, I would say that my spiritual journey was evolving, and I didn't see the greatness until later on in life. You know, in my 20s, I was just full of war and hate. After war, it suppressed me, you know, war. And it made me want to be better. And that's when I seek the advice from these masters. And I still have masters in my life. When I say that, it's in special operations, we work to heal ourselves, and we have the best doctors, the best shamans, the best healers in the world at our disposals. And these masters are around me even to today.
Do you still remember the moment when you looked at yourself in the bathroom mirror and you went, "Today, I'm a teacher"?
You know, I never did. I never said, like, I became a teacher, right? But I remember the last thing I said before I became a teacher. So I looked at my wife and I said, "Honey, I think I want to be a teacher." I came out of meditation and I said, "I think I want to be a teacher." And she said, "What are you going to teach?" And I said, "The way of the warrior."
Yeah. Oh my God, I love moments like that. I really do. Where can people go to find out more information about you, to show you love, support, and to get your word out there even further?
Oh, thank you. You can follow me on YouTube at Ronin Tactics. You can follow us on Instagram at Ronin Tactics, Facebook at Ronin Tactics. Our website is www.ronintactics.com.
Please come back to this show anytime in the future. I love talking very deeply with you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, you be brilliant today, okay, sir?
You too. Thank you so much.